Mr. Claude Reese.
Now, the day is Friday. The date is March the 30th, 1962. Time is 10:30 in the morning, and I'm in the office of Mr. Claude D. Reese. How long you been mayor of this community, sir?
I'm in my 10th year at the moment.
They tell me, and among them being Mr. James Owens, that you probably know more about the formation of Palm Beach, that is the administrative formation of the town, than anybody else. You know a good deal about that?
Well, I remember a good bit about it.
All right. Let's start back with when it was formed.
Well, it was incorporated in 1911.
Was there ever any thought that Palm Beach would take in the West Palm Beach area, or was that never considered?
Well, no, that was just the opposite. In other words, West Palm Beach, we were afraid might take in Palm Beach.
Oh.
Therefore, they formed a municipality over here.
I see. This was a defensive measure.
A defensive measure at the time, it was.
Who were on the first commission? And
Well, now that's hard for me to remember. My grandfather, Captain E.N. Dimmick, was the mayor at that time. And there was another man by the name of Mr. Root, who was on the council, and another one by the name of Doe, and a Mr. Hammond, and I forget the other two.
These were all people who came here early.
Oh, they were old timers, had been here for many, many years.
They were among the 3 or 4 people that settled the place, really, huh?
Well, I wouldn't say that, but they came here very early.
When it was incorporated in 1911, how large was Palm Beach?
Well, they probably had 30, 40, 50 voters would be all.
Is that all?
There would probably only have been 150 people in the town at its permanent residence.
What constituted the right to vote in those days?
Well, just the fact that you were a homeowner and had lived in Palm Beach for the required number of years.
Had the same rulings then as
The same as now. Same as now.
A year in, let's see, 6 months in the county and a year in the state.
Yeah, that's right.
Was there any difference in the form of government then than now, or was it the same?
It was exactly the same as it is now, other than they didn't have a town manager form, which came in the early 20s, 1920s.
Now you have an administrative manager.
That's right. That's right, which we didn't have in the beginning.
Was the mayor elected by acclamation of the council?
No, he's always been elected by the vote of the people.
Oh.
Always. And of course, he has no part in the vote of the town council. He only has the right of veto approving whatever they do.
I see. And can they pass it over his head?
They can pass it over his head, yes.
How many on the council now?
5, same as in the beginning.
In the early days, what kind of a police department did Palm Beach have?
Well, when it was incorporated, they had just one man. They called him a town marshal, which was Joseph Borman. He's now 90 years old.
Yes, I've talked to him. And he remembers his marshalling very well.
That's right.
Well, now, they must have had more than one man manning the fire department.
Well, they didn't have any fire department.
Oh? They
had an arrangement with West Palm Beach whereby we paid them $500 every time they sent their engine over here.
Well, that must have been pretty costly for a false alarm.
Well, we didn't have those, and didn't have many fires.
You didn't?
No.
Why? Because the places were so widely spread?
Widely scattered.
Everybody had their own
That's
protection.
right, and of course at that time you didn't have fire hydrants and things like that. See, that came later.
Where'd they get the water from if they came over here?
Usually would be probably out of the lake. What little they did.
Now, of course, by 1911, the homes had begun to spring up along the ocean, hadn't they?
Oh, not in 1911.
No?
No. Nearly everyone lived on the lakefront. They didn't think there was much value to the ocean. The only homes on the ocean were the dwellings up there now, north and south of the Breakers Hotel. And then a few small homes on what is Roots Trail.
And then most people that lived on this side used the ocean for bathing and
That's
have a little
right.
bathhouse, huh?
That's right. They'd have a bathhouse over there.
Did most of them have property that extended from the lake to the ocean?
Nearly all of it extended from ocean to lake.
And how did they get across? Had the marsh been filled in? In those days, there was a marsh in the center, wasn't there?
There was a marsh in the center, but most of the homes had had either filled it in or they had filled enough so they had a path across.
Well, how was the whole area finally filled in so it'd be useful?
Well, of course, in the beginning, they filled it by little steam locomotives and cars which they loaded with shovels and used the ridge along the ocean and brought it down into what was then the marsh. But of course, then in later years, when they got the hydraulic dredges, it was filled in from the lake.
Was that little locomotive car, was that the Fanny Dugan Railroad?
No, different contractors had them. They were just little small miniature engines, and sometimes they pulled them with mules. And some of the jobs, they didn't have the engines. They'd have the track and the cars, and they'd run downhill and dump it in the marsh, and then the mules would pull it back up and they'd load it.
What is the story about the planting of the coconuts? Is it true that the bark Providencia was wrecked on the shore and that the settlers went out and planted the coconuts?
Without a doubt, because my grandfather was one who picked up a lot of the coconuts.
Of course,
there was never any here until that happened.
That had nothing to do with the beautiful plantings, the symmetrical plantings, such as those on Royal Palm.
Oh no, those were all planted as small trees to begin with.
Well, now, what did early settlers like your grandfather do here? Were they mostly in trade?
Well, they had orange groves, some in Palm Beach, of course, on their properties, and then they had some elsewhere. And of course, they did a little farming, and then it was long in the 1890s, of course, after the hotel opened, they had banks and things in West Palm. Some were in those, and then other lines of endeavor.
In the real estate business, sir, in the early days, what did an acre sell for here?
Well, it probably sold for 25 cents when my grandfather came here in 1875.
And were the titles generally clear? Have they been passed down and clear?
Oh, yes, yes, because most of it was homesteaded.
Oh, I see.
Most of it was homesteaded.
And the homesteads they bought from the state?
From the United States government.
Oh, from the United States government.
See, they had to live on it a certain length of time and do certain improvements to qualify for the homestead, but nearly all of it was homesteaded.
How long did it take them to qualify?
That I don't remember. Whatever it is today, same requirement.
Do you remember any stories about the early days that you'd like to share with us? Stories that you tell people that ask you what Palm Beach was like in the beginning?
Well, of course, there wasn't very much to it, and a lot of people don't realize that all the center of Palm Beach was a marsh and a swamp, and that we had hundreds and hundreds of alligators. And even in my lifetime, I have seen bear on the beach in Palm Beach, and same as I have seen panther. And it was just a wilderness. Of course, at one time, there were even deer over in Palm Beach. You don't need to bother those, Howard.
Did they hunt over here extensively?
Well, no. Usually the hunting was across the lake.
What they do about mosquitoes? There must have been a lot of them.
Well, we had plenty of them. I often wonder how we lived through it. But they weren't as bad as the sandflies.
Oh, yes. They're hard to battle.
That's right. They're hard to battle because they come through your screen.
Yeah. Did you go to school here? When did you come here? Were you born here?
I was born in Palm Beach. I'm a native.
Did you go to school here?
I went to school in West Palm.
Oh. Did they have a high school in those days?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Of course, they had a boat on the lake that came along and picked us up in the morning and took us over to West Palm Beach, and we walked up to what's now Cress's 5 and 10 cent store at Clematis and Poinsettia. That was our school there, and then of course in the afternoon we went back to the boat and were delivered to our docks.
Did you ever hope that the storm wouldn't let the boat cross over?
Well, never worried about it.
Never did. What did boys do for entertainment?
Well, they had plenty of birds to shoot, different kinds, and of course the finest fishing it was ever in the world anywhere.
What kind of equipment did they use?
Anything we could make up. Mostly hand lines and things like that, because you didn't have rods and reels or they were hard to get. But it was no problem to catch whatever you wanted to eat out of the water, as well as worlds of stone crabs. And of course, the lake had worlds of green turtle in it. And There was just everything here.
Was it fresh water then, or had it gone salt?
It was salted, that was in my lifetime.
Wasn't your grandfather one of those who hand dug the inlet?
He was one of them because the lake, when he came here, was fresh water.
Do you recall any of the other names in that project?
No, I don't. No, I don't.
Of course, that inlet has been dug several times, hasn't it?
Oh, yes, it was dug, of course, where the present inlet is now is where it was first dug. Then that filled up, and they later dug it about a mile north of there. And, of course, that would open and close probably every few years. And then they'd have to dig it again, or in the fall of the year when you got rains and the water in the lake became higher in the ocean, it'd break through.
What in the world ever inspired people like your grandfather, Captain Dimmick, to come here in the first place?
Well, of course, he came here from Michigan, and they just having a hard time making a living up there, and I guess they were just true pioneers and wanted to try a new country. Of course, he came to Jacksonville and spent several years, and then from there moved down here.
Well, there wasn't any Chamber of Commerce to send out literature.
Well, he's just one of those type of people that wanted something new.
Did
Of course, when he what?
Did the Indians pose a problem?
Oh, never. No, of course, when I was a boy, there was Indians came in quite often and camped over on a point there where the Palm Beach Yacht Club is now, and of course they'd come by our house nearly every time and selling venison. And my grandfather had known them from the very beginning, and of course they were just friendly people. Sometimes we'd be sitting there in the evening and you'd look up and see the eyes at the window, and it would be Indians.
Could they talk English?
Oh, yes, some. And usually they'd sleep on the porch out in the mosquitoes, except the head one, and he'd come in the house and sleep on the floor.
He had special privileges.
That's right.
Well, it must have been a wonderful life. It
was. Of course, I enjoyed it as a boy and often think I'd like to see it that way again, but still I like modern conveniences.
I hear from a number of people they'd like to see it the way it was.
Well, I don't think I'd want to go through that again, because there was hardships even in my lifetime, and they were a lot worse when my grandfather came here.
Of course, I think it's fair to say that Mr. Flagler revolutionized the life here, didn't he?
Well, of course, he's the man that started it, because he came in and bought land from where the Royal Poinciana was, and of course started that, and that was the beginning of Palm Beach.
Who did he buy from, do you remember?
He bought from one of my grandfather's brothers, and of course Mr. Flagler had been here before and spent some little time at my grandfather's hotel, which was the first hotel ever in Palm Beach, the Coconut Grove House.
Oh.
So it was just a wooden structure, and as people would get down here by boat, he'd add on to it as his business increased until he had some 18 or 20 rooms.
I can see a guest saying, "Have you got a room?" And he says, "No, just a minute, I'll build one."
Well, many of the people that later settled in Palm Beach and built homes here, I mean, men of means from the north stayed at the Coconut Grove House.
I have heard that the Royal Poinciana was probably the largest wooden hotel structure in the world, and housed something like 1,800 guests. Was it ever filled?
It was always filled in the winter for a short time. It was added on too many times, and that's the reason it became so big. Mr. Flagler had to add on to it to take care of the people that came in here, of course, after his railroad was here.
Any idea what it cost to live there? Was it American plan?
It was American plan, but I don't know what the cost would have been. Probably quite expensive in those days, $30, $40 a day.
That's quite expensive today, too.
That's right, quite expensive today.
Do you think that hotel, the people who came there and to the breakers, was responsible for many of the people who settled here?
Oh, definitely, because you take people like Stotesbury and John F. Harris and J. Leonard Replogle, and I could go on and name them without end, that stayed at the hotels in the beginning. Take Florence Ziegfeld. He stayed at the hotels and then later bought a home, but it went on and on and on like that.
Did Mr. Flagler ever invest heavily in real estate in Palm Beach?
Well, never after he got his original holdings, and of course at that time he owned practically all of West Palm Beach, and,
yes.
and the center section of Palm Beach.
He did own the center section, too.
That's right, of Palm Beach.
Was he responsible for filling it in?
Well, his part of it, of course, where his hotels were, he filled that in right away.
Did he also encourage the Bradleys to come here and open the beachfront?
No, he was rather opposed to them coming here in the beginning.
Oh.
Yes, he did everything he could to prevent them coming here. But they later, of course, became very close friends. When he saw the type of institution they ran, why then I think he realized it was an asset.
Were the prominent people who lived here, were they interested in the government, the form of government?
They always have been, and that's why you see Palm Beach what it is today.
Not all communities enjoy that.
No, they don't. And that's the trouble with a great many of them. And of course, another thing, we've been able throughout the years to get businessmen in our town government. They do not receive any pay. They do it because they like Palm Beach.
And you don't have the petty wrangles in your government that other communities have?
Fortunately, no. Fortunately, no. We've never have had that I know of. And I've been in the town government about 35 years now.
Well, that's wonderful, and as you say, it shows.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, sir. I'm grateful to have had this chance to talk with you.
Well, I've enjoyed it too.
And, when I get out the door, you'll think of 40 things you should have said.
That's right. I probably will. Probably will.
Maybe I'll come back another time.
All right.
Thank you, sir.